back to the 21 Conventions Q&A panel number 2. We're going to be running about 35 minutes. Step up to the mic with your questions, concerns, inspirations, whatever you want, and we will answer them. We're not going to take any longer than 2 minutes to answer a question. I will encourage us to move on to the next one if a speaker is going too long. So let's keep it brief, everybody. Thank you.
My question is directed to any of the shaved heads on the panel. As everyone can see, there's a few in here. What are, if any, some clothing fits and patterns that accentuate the look?
V-necks.
I couldn't tell you. I don't give a damn.
Well, when you're a white guy and you have a shaved head, you basically all look the same. And you look like the criminal on like a Grand Theft Auto, like basic white criminal. And so you maybe want to go with that look. Maybe learn to jack a car. He's guilty. Just go with that. I mean, I don't really know. I think it just depends on how athletic you are and a whole bunch of other factors.
As a guy that shaves people's heads with straight razors, I notice when I do white guys, they want it toned down. So I end a straight razor shave with a little moisturizer and then a little bit of powder to tone down the shine. When I get black guys in my chair, they want a shinier head. So I think it depends on what look you want.
Hi guys, thank you very much for taking your time. It's highly appreciated. My question is to Robert Glover. What did you mean by start walking through open doors, and does that apply to all areas of life?
That's a good question. And yes, all areas of life. I mean, it's simple. We can say, I want that 10, I want that. And we're knocking on a closed door. She hasn't shown any interest in us whatsoever. And we got these other women that are like looking at us, checking us out, making themselves available. That's an open door. And what my mistake in the past, and this is true in all areas of life, but say especially with women, is we get obsessed with, I want that woman. And she's shown no interest in us. David Data says, choose a woman who chooses you. And I've heard that kind of echoed with some of the other speakers. I'd rather be with a woman who's already shown high interest in me than me having to go create high interest in a woman. Life's just a whole lot fucking easier when you walk through open doors, don't pound on the closed ones. And that's true for every area of life.
Next question.
This question's for Ryan and anyone else who wants to jump in on it. It's really likely to me that somebody in this room is going to go home and do nothing, and this event's just going to be a big mental masturbation jerk-off fest for them. Do you have any ideas for things that guys could do tonight before they leave to prevent the likelihood of that happening?
No is your short answer. The long answer is it's kind of triage. Some guys just aren't going to do anything regardless, and there's nothing you can do about that. If you're worried you're going to be one of those guys, best I can say is set yourself up for success. Get a gym membership somewhere that's in between your work and your home. Pack your gym bag, put it in your car, so that way you have no choice but to work out. I found for working out, the worst thing for me was when I'd get home and then I have to psych myself up again to leave to go to the gym. I'd end up just not going because I'd make an excuse. But if it was in the car, once I'm there in the building, then I'm working out. So that's the best thing, is to think of it as a process, not a goal. As far as what you can do before then, I don't know, write down what your process is going to be, I guess.
To add on to that, the night before you leave here, a lot happens during the week while you're here. You kind of forget why you came in the first place. You got all this motivation, you get that fire, but motivation is cool. It burns hot like a match, but it goes out in 5 seconds. You need to light that log of discipline. You need to remember why you came here in the first place. Hang on to that why. When you go home, you're going to remember why it is that you started this. You're going to continue on so you don't have that going on anymore.
So habit change. One of the most difficult habit change that I see people go through is getting sober, giving up drugs. And one of the most important keys to that is community. And you have that here. So take advantage of it. If you're concerned that you struggle with habit change, use what works. Don't reinvent the wheel. Get an accountability buddy and find somebody who's going to encourage you along. Use this community right here.
Yeah, I've actually got a couple of solutions. The first one is pretty simple. If you're afraid you're gonna, stagnate or not do anything before you leave here, come up with an actionable plan. Just like Ryan said, I'm going to get a gym membership as soon as I hit the ground. I'm going to rid myself or start the process of ridding myself of blue pill friends. Solution number 2: stop jerking off. Your motivation when you masturbate goes right out the door along with that load, so to speak. I'm here to tell you, if you set goals for yourself, you stop masturbating, you're going to find yourself a lot more motivated.
Next question.
Hi, I think, can I direct this to you, Hunter, please? So when I was blue pill, didn't really understand anything about shit tests, read the Rational Male, etc. And one of the last girls I dealt with started pretty early on, and then it was just relentless. And one of my strategies was basically to cuss her back. And it worked to a point, but when the thing was over, I kind of looked back and thought, no, my gut told me that wasn't a good way of dealing with it. I've dropped myself to her level. What's a better strategy than bringing yourself, down to their level of communication?
Well, the shit never end. Honestly, a shit test is when she's making sure you've still got it. You're still the man, you can handle it, you've got it going on. So when the shit tests end, you've got a real problem then. I get shit tested by my lady all the time, and that's it less so than in the beginning. But once you dial it in and she's testing you, you've got to draw clear boundaries. If she's, testing you and giving you, shit about something that you've got going on and it's just bothering you, just put your phone down. You don't have to respond. Verbal intercourse, that's optional. You're not forced into that. You don't have to respond to her. Hey, walk away. Remove time, remove attention. Set a standard from the beginning. The problem is many guys are inconsistent with their boundaries. Sometimes you respond, sometimes you don't. So she's like, fuck it. I'm just going to go all the way in. I'm going to keep testing, keep pushing, keep prodding. Once you set that standard, though, and let her know that there is a cutoff point and you will walk away, she's like, oh, shit. All right.
But I assume you don't want to overtly say, I don't want to play these games. If you carry on, we're done.
You can. Men speak overtly. Hey, knock it off or I'm out. Hey, stop. This is what I'm not going to tolerate that shit. End it. Don't be afraid of confrontation, man, especially with your woman.
Yeah, I'll add a couple more parts. Look at shit test as a woman's invitation for deeper connection. That's her way of saying, they don't shit test you if they're not interested in you. So see it as an invitation for deeper connection. And I tell guys all the time, there's a difference between a shit test and a woman being mean. A shit test never involves meanness. If a woman's fucking mean, leave.
Cool.
Next question.
Hold on, if you don't mind. I've also found that, for example, I'll track my partner's ovulation cycle. It never occurs after ovulation. It's always occurring just prior. And so that's an early indication for me to sit down and say, oh, here's the time period. And if you listen to any of the talks I've given previously, I'll honestly either throttle up my degree of dominance or alpha or however you want to say it during that time period and immediately pull back once the ovulation stopped. So that's usually a good indication that she's starting that cycle. I know to start making single commands, not saying, hey, where do you want to go out? We're going out. Where are we going? You'll find out, or we're having Chinese or whatever the hell it is, those sort of things. So I usually see those sort of small shit tests as an early indication. And it's like, great. And it's usually, instead of being a negative shit test, it's an indicator, hey, I'm hitting this cycle, and it tends to be a positive thing for me.
Next question.
All right, gentlemen, thank you. This might be for the whole brotherhood, so fair game here. All right. We understand one-itis. We've been vaccinated against one-itis. We don't own the other girl. It's just our turn. Got that. And plate spinning is cute. It's cool, but I call it, I've had enough swimming in goo. G-O-O-W, the good opinion of other women. Like, I want to be a high version of myself. I want to connect with a badass girl. So my question is, yes, marriage in North America, metaphor is like slow dancing in a burning room, right? So how do we put together a winning red pill exclusive relationship with the right girl? Sean, like you said, is a force multiplier. How do we structure it? How do we put that together?
I guess I can lead this one off because I technically am doing that. I know in America you guys don't have the same common law laws that we have. They just give you an opt-in marriage light certificate, and the separation is kind of similar to what a reasonable divorce would look like. It's hard to get an answer from girls about why they want marriage as opposed to just a long-term relationship. But at the same time, there's no reason you can't have that as your boundary. A lot of divorced guys that get together with girls say it all the time. It's, look, I want to be with you. I'll be with you for life. That's fine. I'm just not signing that paper. I'll buy you a ring. I'll give you a party, whatever. We're just not doing the paper. And you'd have to check with a lawyer to make sure that's legally sound. But I mean, if it's a deal breaker for you, then either treat it as a deal breaker or get over it and then do marriage because you might lose her otherwise.
A lot of people spend a lot of time saying, I'm looking for that one quality woman. I want a quality woman. Well, guess what, guys? They don't exist. Okay. We as men, we have to build women of quality. Men are made, right? We say men are made, women are born. Well, that's not really the case anymore. Men are made and quality women are also made. You have to know what you want, and you have to be absolutely uncompromising in communicating to your woman, hey, this is what I want. I'm not going to put a gun to your head, but if you don't get on my program, then we can't be together. This train is leaving the station with or without you. You can be on it or you can stay on the platform. If you want to be on it, we'll have a great time. If not, I bid you farewell. I think this also goes with a lot of guys say they want to be a leader. Do you really want to be a leader? I think it was Texas Dom who said in his presentation that submissive women are very needy, and they should be. They're looking for a leader. Women don't know what the hell they want, right? Like half the time they don't know what they want. They don't know what they want to be. You're the guy who's going to tell her what she wants. If you want to know what you want, I'll tell you. I'll let you know. So before you go out and look for that quality girl, you have to have a plan in place beforehand. You have to have your protocol in place because if you don't have a plan and you're going to try, what are you going to try and mold a woman for if you don't have a plan? You need to, again, you have to be uncompromising in your belief system, in your leadership. Your woman has to trust you. If she doesn't trust you, she's not going to follow you. It is on us to make women quality women. That's all there is to it. It can't be done by themselves. Obviously, parents are failing. Quality women are not being made by their parents. So it's on us, guys like us in this room. We have to make women into who we want and need them to be.
Next question.
This has been an eye-opening experience. I had never heard of any of this or read any of this or known anything of any of you before 2 weeks ago when my buddy called me and said, hey, Greg, you should come to this. Let's see. I've had a deep understanding from this. It's like going through surgery. I feel like I've got all the patches from all the wounds. I've talked to experts. I'd say each one of you have your expertise in 6 areas. I have a plan. I am actually trying to cut sugar and alcohol. I picked it for 30 days. But giving up porn and stopping to say I'm sorry, that seems pretty big. I'm looking for some guidelines to kind of help keep me to that besides getting a man team I can connect with once a week.
Tex, you want that one?
Yeah, you say you don't want to give up porn,
No, I do.
but that's the big one.
That and just saying I'm sorry every time someone says there's a problem. I'm just always, oh, I'm sorry.
Or you want to stop saying I'm
I
sorry.
want to stop saying I'm sorry.
Okay, I got one for that.
What's that?
All right. Like I said, in my own personal nice guy recovery, I went on several different moratoriums. When I was married to my second wife, I went on 6-month sex moratoriums. Just none. I quit because I was pursuing a woman that was unavailable. And I had to break that habit. Another one I went on was gift giving. I gave her gifts to please her and make her happy and get validation. I went an entire year, didn't give her a single gift, and she knew it. We talked about it ahead of time. She didn't like it either. She didn't like my covert contracts that she didn't know what the strings were attached. So I quit giving gifts, no Mother's Day cards, no birthday cards, and every time I had an impulse to give her something, I went and got myself something. The same thing with saying I'm sorry. No, that's the truth. I'm not making that up because I never gave myself anything. And I quit saying I was sorry. I did moratoriums where I said, I'm not going to say I'm sorry because my sorries were counterfeit. They meant nothing. All I'm sorry meant was, oh, I want you to quit being upset about whatever you're upset at so I can feel relaxed and calm again. So I'm going to say I'm sorry. I'd say someone hit their elbow. Oh, I'm sorry. Fuck, why am I saying I'm sorry? Because they bumped their elbow on something. So maybe make it, whether it's porn, I'm sorry's, gift giving, whatever. Pick a period of time and say, I'm not going to do it, and then observe the impulse that arises to do it and ask yourself, what's really going on with me right now? And you're usually having a state of anxiety.
I'll follow that up with, there are at least 10 or 15 great books sitting out there on that table, but one of them that's not there is called When I Say No, I Feel Guilty. And that's part of the Red Pill sidebar reading stuff. And everybody's been throwing reading stuff at you, but you need to learn how to fog. You need to learn how to stand up. And that's one of the best books involved in just learning how to assert yourself.
Since the other guys hit on the I'm sorry aspect, I'll touch on the porn. And think about what it is. You know, if you're trying to get rid of it and you've got to fuck yourself up to get rid of that aspect of what you're doing and break that habit, there's a dude smashing this chick. You're a dude watching pixels sitting in the corner beating your dick. Think about that. You're watching another dude fuck a chick you find attractive. That's what porn is. That's all you're doing. You're trying to numb yourself. A lot of guys say, oh, I got to rub one out because I want to be relaxed. I don't want the chick to know I'm super horny. No, you should probably learn to harness your sexual energy instead of trying to numb yourself constantly. That's what creates apathetic men. Men who can't harness that sexual aspect of being a man. And that's one of the most beautiful aspects of being a man. You know, when you can start reclaiming that, you're going to be horny as fuck. You're going to find yourself super focused on things. You're like, shit, you know, I've got a lot of energy. All of a sudden, that wife that you've got a dead bedroom with, you're like, no, we're going to smash. You know, I don't give a shit. We've got to get this taken care of. All of a sudden, that dead bedroom comes a fucking live because you're not numb anymore. Because you're not watching another dude smash chicks while you rub one out. It's disgusting when you think about it. And once you start getting that inside your head, you're like, oh, fuck, I don't want to do that anymore. That's how you break the habit. You just make yourself feel terrible.
Next question, please.
Yeah, this is for Tex. So my question is, a woman who is conditioned by the feminine imperative and to be dominant in society through the means of like business or doing masculine activities, should you focus a lot on reconditioning her mentality to live and being her feminine, like being submissive, if you love her that much?
I apologize. I'm going to ask you to repeat that a little bit. Thank you.
Okay. So a woman who is conditioned by the feminine imperative to be dominant in society, to, you know, be focused on business and to do like masculine activities, you know.
Okay, I got you. Is she happy? I mean, literally communicate with her. Are you happy with the life that you're living right now? And I'm guessing that, you know, the answer may be yes or no. But deep down inside, if she trusts you to answer, you know, truthfully, she's probably going to tell you she's not that damn happy. You know, generally, this wasn't the life she probably grew up thinking she was going to have. They've been pounding in her head that they have to. You know, I mean, does she want to have kids? Does she want to stay home? Does she want to, you know, do nice things? I mean, it's a communication thing to figure out what she wants to do. But you got to find out if she's happy or not.
Next question, please.
Yeah, real quick. The answer is no. You're not going to recondition a woman who has been, who has had the femininity trained out of her. But again, if you're dominant enough, she will submit to you. You will find that the most submissive women out there are the women that are the most powerful. You know, attorneys, business women, CEOs, etc. Oh, I'm powerful, I'm dominant. And as soon as you put your fucking foot down, you know what I mean? All of a sudden, now they're a kitten. Wait a minute, I thought you were this dominant, you know, feminazi female. I'm an alpha. No, you're not an alpha woman. There's no such thing. So the more dominant she, and it's funny, a woman's appearance of dominance is almost like a shit test to the world. I'm a dominant woman. Which one of you is man enough to tame me? And if you're that guy, she will submit to you.
One last thing. In our relationship, my girl comes home from work and she literally hands off the baton in certain regards. She comes home and lets it go and no longer has to worry about running the company or doing anything like that. She can come home and relax. So it's the same thing that you're talking about.
That's right.
Next question, please.
Right here. This is a question for Ivan. And it's, how do you balance Eastern practices such as meditation, which seem to contradict with the Western mentality of being a warrior.
Ultimately, what is the task of the warrior? What's his first mission? Go home a lot, right? Eastern practices and Western practices, Eastern mentality, Western mentality, ultimately come back to that same principle. The ninja have an expression. The teaching of the divine is forever. The right heart will protect you. And you go to the other side of the world, and there's a verse in the Bible that says, the law of God is in his heart, and his steps will not slide. Talking about the same thing. By drilling down deeper and finding what the ninja call the Kenjin Kenime, or the ultimate essential essence of a teaching, of a truth, you'll find the commonality that's part of our being as a human being, which is deeper than culture, it's deeper than tradition, it's deeper than politics or any other layer or overlay. About that. Contradictions will be illusion for the most part. Men live and die, love and breed the same way everywhere. Those are animal things. If you find a contradiction, go deeper. That makes sense?
Thank you.
Next question, please.
All right, this one's for Donovan. So, professional sports like the NFL have become more feminized in the past few years, particularly with those pink shoes and gloves of October. You're goddamn right. But this year, as you observed, I haven't seen it. Maybe it's very rare. So my question is this going to be the beginning that masculinity is going to come back in sports, particularly the NFL?
I would like to think that it is. Unfortunately, you're still seeing, NFL players with the pink cleats, but it's not nearly as prevalent. Of course, October was Breast Cancer Awareness Month, et cetera, NFL guys wearing pink stuff. But now I think it's the last 2, maybe 3 years, it's all Cancer Awareness Month. Do I think this is the beginning of something? I don't know. What I know is that big companies, television networks, listen, it's all about the money. I don't think television networks really care about feminism. Maybe some of their pundits do. They care about money. And I think what television networks like ESPN, NBC, CBS, I think what they have figured out is that by alienating their base audience, okay, telling their base audience, hey, men, you suck, you're unimportant. Yeah, let's raise up the woman, hashtag, help her out, or whatever crazy bullshit hashtag they're pushing. I think they've done it to a point to where it's so overt, their ratings started to drop. And they gave us all the bullshit reasons. Oh, it's the election cycle, et cetera, et cetera. But no, that wasn't really what was going on. You're alienating men. So I think that they're going to do what's best for the bottom line. And this is the reason I think that they have started. And again, it's not like they're pushing masculinity. They're not doing that. But what they've done is they've sort of pulled the reins back on, hey, hashtag save the tatas. I think that was one of the more comical ones. Is this the beginning of a culture change? I would like to think so. The cynic in me says no, but I think the jury's probably still out on that, though. Good question.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mind if I'm going to stick with my theme of things you may not want to hear? I don't think masculinity comes at 60 minutes with commercials. I don't think that the NFL is going to sell it to you. I think them making pig helmets for every team is probably the best thing for you. Why not get 11 friends together and go out to a field and play football? Honestly, I mean, it's like everybody here is already, yeah, porn is bad. Yeah, I can clap for that. And video games I can clap for that. But sitting there watching a bunch of dudes hit each other for 60 minutes, so you feel like a man. I'll leave it there anyway. I know I'm kind of on hollowed ground here in the States, so don't fight me. Texas just glaring.
Okay.
He heard that.
Lifelong. Yeah, I heard that. Thank you.
Your hearing
Yeah.
just got better?
Yeah. I need Donovan down here to type it out for me, I guess. No, I mean, with the take a knee thing in the last couple of years, you're talking about a diehard football fan, diehard, right? I've watched probably maybe one pro football game this year. They lost me. They literally lost me a while back, and that's coming from a guy that's hardcore. Now, high school football, college football, I'm still into, but pros, they can suck it. I don't care.
But you watch those live, I'm assuming, the high school ones and that?
If I can, the live ones, the college ones, I'm still watching because I still have a lot of love for that.
We'll say that live games, awesome. It's highly recommended.
Hashtag fly Eagles fly.
Next question, please.
Hi, this is a question about physical conflict and confrontation. So I feel as if I should initially direct it to Jack Donovan. Basically, my older brother recently relocated. He has 3 young children. Very recently, he was chased around the streets after an incident by a guy in a car and a guy on foot, possibly drug-induced, I'm not sure. Managed to get away, but basically he's seen them or encountered them since and told his family, go home in case they see me with you, don't want to put you in danger. Now, I'd be skeptical that, the police are going to do anything, virtue signaling, etc. these days. What would you recommend? Vigilantism or, because there's no point, at the moment I feel as if he's waiting and he's just stuck in fear. What would be your initial thoughts on a scenario like that?
I don't know. Based on our conversation last night, I feel like you should move. Because there was another incident that you told me about as well. I mean, honestly, getting into being a vigilante and stuff like that. I mean, we're not going to put on little capes and things like that and run around and chase people down. I mean, there are certainly people who will do that. But you got to look, I think, in any situation like that, you have to look at the long and short-term consequences of that. Because you could, have this guy end up in a worse situation than he is in now. Because, he's not going to have fun in prison. So you might win in the long term. I think, prevention maybe is the best medicine in that kind of way. Situational awareness and, learning more about that kind of stuff.
Thank you.
Next question, please.
Hello, I would like to ask, from what I understand, success is heavily related to the observation skill you have, like how you observe, let's say, if you want to pick up a girl, you observe the sign. If you want to be good with your wife and have a successful marriage, you have to observe different signs, like she has whatever, if there is a problem. Same for the business world, you have to actually detect different kind, if there is opportunities. What would be the best way to actually increase our observation skills? And I ask this question to the whole panel because I don't know who would be the most appropriate to answer it.
Don't trust your lying eyes. Go approach. If she wants to turn you down, girls are very good at not having sex with people they don't want to. And then pay attention to what happened afterwards. And then that's the stuff you can look out for. After 1,000 approaches, you'll figure it out, I'm sure.
I was going to bounce on exactly what he just said. Trend analysis. There's an awesome book. It's called What Everybody's Saying by Joe Navarro. He was here last year. Great book, but books don't mean shit unless you apply it. So when you go there and you approach and you have engagements, whether it's business, whether it's your wife, I can read my wife and she's not going to say a word, but the way she blinks, the way she talks, the tone, you recognize that, something's up, something's not up. Same thing with people, same thing with men. Every relationship you have, once you get to know people, you have enough interactions with them, you get to learn their style. But the biggest thing is guys want to learn body language while sitting in their basement and it doesn't work.
Yeah, maybe an unorthodox technique that you should use is go people watching. I don't know where you live. I don't know if it's a highly populated city, but just sit on a park bench or go into the city, put on some headphones and just watch people. Another technique, and this is something a good friend of mine used to use. He used to watch the TV with the sound down, watch the TV completely muted. Those two things taught him the art of reading nonverbal, verbal versus nonverbal body language. And then of course you have the more traditional remedies. Just go out, put yourself in social situations. You don't have to go out and hit on chicks. Just go out and talk to people. Just go out and talk to people. The more people you talk to, the more you become desensitized to talking to them. And when you become desensitized to the actual interaction, now you start to pick up on their nonverbal cues. So those are things I would do.
So much of life is actually getting out and doing. Get off the bench, put your uniform on, and go out and do it. Experience is everything.
Next question, please.
This question is for Dr. Smith. And you had said in your talk that time is one of your most valuable assets. In the meantime, what, in terms of red flags that you could look for, what are the biggest red flags, the red flags that are going to give you, I guess, the fastest return on investment in terms of diagnosis of who you're working or who you're interacting with?
The biggest red flags, going back to what I was talking about earlier, how she makes you feel, because how she makes you feel is going to be a big indication of what she's putting out into the world. And so the biggest red flags, I think, are splitting is the most obvious one. The splitting is that borderline behavior where a person's not able to see the good and bad in a person simultaneously, that you're either good or you're bad. Some other really big red flags are having some kind of run-of-the-mill mental health disorder, but refusing to get it treated. You don't rule people out because they're depressed or they're anxious, because then you'd be ruling out half the planet. And why would you do that anyway? The key is, are they willing to address their problems? And if I had to give you a top two, I think those would be the ones.
Go ahead.
All right, this is a question for Jack and Ivan, and it is, within a tribal context, what is the balance between honor and vulnerability among men, obviously?
Can you be a little bit more specific?
It's easy to get into this new agey paradigm where vulnerability is so celebrated. So how do you maintain a masculine sense of honor within a tribe without so much conflict? Because it's easy to fall into a trap of arrogance when it comes to honor, I think.
Okay. This is going in large part to depend on, in my opinion, two things. What kind of tribe is this? And then who's leading it? The idea of vulnerability as a virtue has been twisted. Okay. Honesty means vulnerability. Loving makes you vulnerable. Investment makes you vulnerable. There's a difference between understanding that risk inherently brings vulnerability and embracing vulnerability to play it safe, which is where things kind of twisted a little bit. It says, oh, you need to be in touch with your vulnerable side. Why? How do you intend to use that? Would be my first question. Gun control has a similar argument. The reason people want you disarmed is so that they can do things that you wouldn't allow them to do if you had a gun. Convince me I'm wrong. Where vulnerability is concerned, it is dishonorable to deliberately infest yourself with helplessness, to make yourself weak on purpose. That's not correct. That's not appropriate posture. That violates your freedom, all of those things. Now, Mr. Swift had talked a little bit about meekness. Is meekness vulnerable? If I'm wrestling with a child, I hold back my strength and my skill. That's being meek. I'm not in the least vulnerable. So make sure that the demands upon you of being vulnerable, ask why. Be direct. If the reaction is offended, that's dishonest. That's dishonorable of them. Now, where your honor is concerned within a tribe, that's going to come from your conscience. What does that voice in the back of your head connected to the divine tell you about what you must do or must not do? Being honorable is vulnerable as well. Your position in the tribe may be vulnerable if you stand on your honor. You have to wait. Depending on the tribe, depending on the leader of the tribe, that may mean by maintaining honor, you are in fact challenging the leadership of that tribe. So be it. You may have to leave and found your own tribe, change the one you have. It's going to be a very, very context-specific decision. To boil it down, I would think about your conscience, what it demands of you, and then what is being demanded from you by other people under pretenses. That makes sense?
And, it goes
Guys,
to Jack.
we've
It's a
come to the
two-part
very
question.
end. Excuse me, we've come to the very end, and I want to thank you for your questions, and I want to thank the panel for your answers. Gentlemen, give the panel a hand. What was your experience so far with the 21 convention?
Oh, outstanding, outstanding. Professional, all across the board.
Really good energy with a lot of people, and I just like it because it's a very positive direction.
This, George, this has been a first-class event.
It's fantastic. You guys run a really tight ship. I've been to a lot of conventions over the course of my business career, and I can tell when things are well-run and when things aren't, and this is a very well-run operation. I was very impressed.
It's pretty incredible to see where Anthony's brought it, especially from last year, which was my first year here, and to see the upgrades he's made has been incredible.
I've got my notebook, and with every speaker, I've written down about 2 or 3 lines under each of the speakers of just the key prime stuff. That's good. That's good.
It's very surreal, man. I'm really enjoying it. I'm happy to live in such an era where such a thing like this is possible.
I have never seen a group of guys like this, a group of 200 men who are focused, squared away, they're working on their values. Just never met a bigger group of wonderful guys.
It's kind of neat because I've been to a fair amount of conventions in my day, but you never see one where the guys like here you can just see Ed Lattimore talking to Tanner about boxing.
Yeah.
You just sit down and then you tell your boxing experiences. Everybody's kind of pinging off each other. It's nice.
It has been fantastic. And it's been 4 days of guys all on the same page, working in the same direction.
Fascinating meeting some of the people, hearing their stories. You got people traveling from other parts of the world to come here just to see some of the speakers. That's amazing.
The thing that's impressed me is everybody here is very serious.
Yeah.
They're taking it, close to their heart.
What a great convention.
Thanks, George.